Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will you please put your little paws together unless you're driving for today's guest, the legendary Mr. Chris Tomlin. Hello, sir.
Hey, man. Good to see you.
Hope you had a great Christmas.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
2022. Hope it's as great as the last couple, because those were just delightful.
I heard that the comedian Nate Bargatze, right?
I had him on the show in 2021.
I love him. He walked on stage once and said, 2020, one of my favorites.
This is great.
And I started laughing.
It was great. Yeah, I remember that. We're huge Nate Bargatze fans at the station.
Amazing.
Toby Mac hooked me up with a meet and greet when Bargatze came to Naples, Florida.
Really?
And it was like, we were all just like,
Yeah. It's the
all
best.
over the guy.
The best.
Guy on, do you listen to Nate Land podcast? It's Bargatze's podcast
No.
that's gone worldwide.
Is it awesome?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's Nate Bargatze's show with two other Nashville comedians talking about nothing. Like, they pick an episode. Every episode they pick just, okay, today we're going to talk about Rhode Island. And they just talk about Rhode Island, but it's all just jokes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'll be the 2000s or the 80s, and they'll just talk about it the whole time.
I've got a Nate Land.
Nate Land.
Okay.
The Nate Land
Look
podcast.
what you learn when you come here today.
Hey, you
Love it.
taught me about the world's greatest turkey.
Yes. Absolutely.
Gobblegobble.com.
Gobblegobble.com.
And so Nate Land is my gift back to you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about new music. Will you just, obviously I got a question about your country era, because you and I, you and I have always talked about, the fact that you dreamed of doing country or playing second base for a baseball team.
Yeah,
and
yes. I couldn't decide when I was a kid.
the label always was right there going, no,
Yeah.
it's not time. So my question's coming on that, but you did have this cool little window of teaming up with these great artists. But now the album that we want to introduce our audience to, just kind of talk about the going back to the roots thing.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always been about writing songs of worship, writing songs that help people connect with God, giving people, I've always thought, like, if I could kind of boil my mission of music down to one simple sentence, is to give people a voice to worship God. And that's what it's always been about for me since I was a kid. And so nothing has changed in that. And I'm so excited this new music I'm working on is just that, just the next step in line of that, of just helping people sing and worship God and writing songs of worship for the church. Hopefully that can find its way to people's lives and churches. And that's what I love the most. We had some fun with a project that I did with this country thing that I never thought I would ever do and wasn't even looking for. We've talked about that. Wasn't even trying. And it just kind of happened. That was so fun. But this record is really this new album is the core of who I am, just songs of worship, and I'm really excited to play some of these new songs and let people hear it.
The Tomlin United tour is coming to Tampa, Orlando, and Atlanta.
Yes.
And so they have to have a time limit on when you can have people in a building with that many hits. How are you going to squeeze from Oceans to Mighty to Save to How Great Is Our God, blah, blah, blah.
I'm excited about this tour.
You're going to have to do a medley or two.
I'm very excited. Joel and I from United have been talking about this and how we're making this night really special. And, when you think we've talked about this I met those guys, I think, 16, 17 years ago. And we've just, both of us been doing it for over 2 decades now. And I think we've talked about it for a long time as we've been in the same circles. What would it be like to tour together? We have 2 really different worlds, and bringing those together on a tour, what could that be? That 1 + 1 = 3 kind of moment. And thinking about all the songs, like you just said, how do we, I'm just thinking about the incredible opportunity to play songs and with the people in the audience, and they have these moments of like, oh my gosh, this song meant this to me. And the next song, oh my gosh, this song meant this to me. And so, when you go from these different songs, How Great Is Our God, A Good Good Father, to Oceans, to like you said, So Will I, to I mean, it's just going to be so many great songs. And so figuring out how to do it, it's going to be a task.
So what's the meeting look like? Like, does everybody get to put certain songs on the table? Because you're dealing with time at this point.
Right.
So okay, here's what I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah.
You put your list out.
Yes.
What is there any we can do together?
Yeah, we're talking about that. How do we do this together? How do we
Yeah.
How do we start the night? How do we end the night? How's the middle of the night work? We've just been dreaming about things of like, what if I'm singing "How Great Is Our God" and then all of a sudden a stage in the middle of the thing shows up and they start singing. United starts singing it.
Hosanna.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And all this kind of thing. So,
Gosh, that's great. Because anybody who's been to a Tomlin show or a United show, you're like, the whole night I knew every song. But now to merge that together is pretty incredible. So looking forward to that, having that in a few of our markets.
yeah, thank you, man.
Chris Tomlin is my guest, and we're getting to this a little bit later than I wanted to. Usually we do this right out of the gate, but I forgot. We have a green screen behind us.
Okay.
And all the artists, we give you a chance to pick the background. So when these, when you say something very spiritual in about 10 minutes, it's going to rock somebody's world. Or I say something incredibly funny that's going to make somebody spit water out of their mouth. When we share those clips on socials, there's going to be a scene behind us.
Okay.
You get to pick. Do you want Walmart parking lot? Do you want the Great Pyramids? Do you want? I know you spend a lot of time in the Rocky Mountains.
Yes. I'll do Colorado. I'll do some kind of Rocky Mountains. It doesn't have to be Colorado, but just a good setting of you feel like you're in the mountains. You're hearing John Denver right now, like you're hearing the music of John Denver coming through.
Not me. I'm hearing Rocky Top. You'll always be home sweet home to me. Little Rockier.
Yeah, Little Rockier.
Okay, here we go.
More further west.
Okay, here we go. There you go. How's that for you?
Yes, I feel it.
Yeah.
Oh,
could you climb that high?
I feel it. Oh, absolutely.
Or are you a base camp guy?
I think I've been on that one. And
are you talking heli skiing where they drop you off and you go down?
Yes.
Yeah.
And somewhere down in there's a river, and at the end of the day, and you kind of fly fishing and you're catching your dinner.
Yeah.
With
the fly fishing guide that used to hit you? Or do you think that guy
you
is
cuss a girl.
You cuss like a girl. Do you think that guy is still in business? Because you said he
so.
got beat up.
He got beat up pretty bad after my fly fishing. Yeah, that was one of the most horrific moments of my fly fishing.
Still remember that side.
He had a whistle.
Yeah.
Blow every time a trout was on, he'd blow a whistle. Fly fishing is supposed to be this calm, like very gentleman, like
Brad Pitt
yes,
in a Montana river.
It's quiet.
You can hear an eagle somewhere.
100%.
You cuss like a girl.
Blowing a whistle as loud as he can. You cuss and hitting my arm.
Yeah.
You cuss a girl. I was like, oh wow, we're done.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I'm on vacation right now, and I'm stressed.
I think
I'm
we're
on
done.
vacation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the country. We've told the stories on the air about just miraculous moments. We're running into, was it Thomas Rhett or one of the guys from Florida, Georgia?
Yeah, both those guys. Yeah.
In a gym.
Yeah. Tyler in a gym. Thomas at a concert. Yeah.
And they're all kind of having these spiritual rejuvenations in their heart, and then they run into you, and all of a sudden, these great songs get born out of miraculous moments. And the songs were just huge. We played half of them. Lady A.
I know. You guys have been so supportive of the songs. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I fought hard for all of them, and
I know it's your favorite.
Carmen's like, I'm done with Tomlin, and I'm like, these are hits.
Yes.
We need to think about
this.
this.
Thank you so much. I know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
But so, because we kind of, I feel like there was a genre being born of, half of our audience would be down with a kind of pop, faith-based, and country merger. So this was kind of like a cool little window for you that happened. Now you're going back to the worship. But I wanted to ask you, is there another genre of music that you like that would be a cool, if you ever decide to do this again, not country, that would be another genre that you can see yourself musically exploring that's not worship?
Yeah, great.
Soundtracks or polka?
It probably would be funny. You say soundtracks. It probably would be. That's what I love. That music, and I love listen. That's what I listen to a lot.
Me too. I'm the same.
And
Scores.
I love that, and so if I've always thought I would like to figure out how to like take some of the catalog of my songs and make this and make these scores of them, or just listening
with strings.
Yes, and just beautiful things like that. So yeah, I love that music.
Which Smitty has done. He's done incredible at that.
Yeah.
And I've told Michael before, I'm like, God made our bodies to react to strings.
Yeah.
Horns will do something to you, but strings make people emotional.
Yeah.
And that's why some of the best movie scores, it's like Zimmer and those guys, something about a violin, a cello creates emotion in people.
Yeah.
That the beginning of Star Wars with John Williams horns does not do.
Right.
It doesn't spur emotion. So when I hear Smitty's album, he did those couple worship albums.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, a song will start, it's a hymn, but it starts with somebody on violin. And I'm like, I'm in.
Yes.
Whatever this is about to be.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. You know, one of the funny things, one of my favorite stories when I was traveling and going to different studios, I got to go to Abbey Road in London, and that's where, you know, the Beatles made their records. That's what it's famous for. It's famous for the Beatles. When you go in there, it's got photos. It's got the album photos of the Beatles and Matt Redman.
Oh wow! Yeah, because he did a live album.
He did a live, and the lady who runs the front of the Abbey Road, she loves him.
Oh,
and
wow.
so think of all the massive records, and Redman's like, he's always like, and so it's great. But we go in there, and I was asking this older gentleman. He'd been there for the longest time, and he was like a little intern when the Beatles were making their records and stuff like that. So you want to ask him questions like that. And I said, "What's the best moment you've been to in here?" And in this studio, and he said, by far, it wasn't the Beatles. He goes, I was standing in this hall, and John Williams walked out, and he had a piece of paper, a staff paper, and he was writing, and he was humming Darth Vader's
Oh no way!
thing and writing the notes down.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh no!
And he goes,
way.
and I was standing there, and he goes, little did I know, I didn't know that'd be a famous melody.
Yeah.
I was just hearing, but I remember hearing it for the first time as he was just up and down the hall singing it to himself and writing the notes on staff paper.
That's crazy.
I mean, isn't that crazy?
Oh.
But how much music can it marks things and marks
Yeah.
people
And then
so,
Matt Redman walked by. No, that's horrible. Let me erase that. That's a great story.
yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so scores would be it. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's just start. I just want to ask. Your kids are still in that wonderful age
Yes.
where everything's incredible.
Yes.
Are they well?
They're good. Ashland's 10, Madison's 7, Elle is 1. Ashland, just this past week, it was unbelievable. We were on the phone. I was out on tour and out on the road, and I called him. I was doing FaceTime, doing the thing, and I said, and we've been telling Ashland, what's going to be your maybe 2 things? She loves dance, and what's the next thing? You know, what's 2 things you can really focus on? And she said, Dad, I think I got it. I was like, what is it? She goes, I think I want to be a songwriter. Oh. And I was like, wow, this is the best. And she said, do you know anybody that could help me teach me? Do you know anybody that could help me write songs? And I was like, well, and she goes, I want to learn how to do it. And then my wife chimes in. She goes, well, there's Roots Academy down the road, and there's Chefs down the road, and they've got these teachers that do it. And I'm like, and I'm just on the face, and I'm like, I'm right here, guys. My wife's, she's not cluing in either. And so,
yeah, I don't know which is worse, your wife not saying something, or
and then she's like trying to figure out, Google who teaches songwriting. And I said, well, I'll write some songs, and I've written some, and I was just kind of looking at them on FaceTime, and Ashland goes, you write songs?
you could have gotten really upset. Like, there are tribes in Africa that are singing songs I wrote on my porch.
Ashland, she goes, you write songs? And I was like, yes. And she goes, wow, I thought you just sang them. I didn't know that you write them too. That's awesome, Dad. And it was just those great moments of kids will keep you exactly in the place you need to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Matthew West writes all of them, and you just sing them. Oh, that's great. Good for you, Dad.
Yeah, good for you. Then she called me back later that day on FaceTime. I was like, hey, Ash, what are you doing? She goes, you wrote How Great Is Our God. And I said, and she goes, Mom's telling me all the songs. We're looking up the songs you write. And because I don't think my wife knows which ones either.
Yeah.
And so
that's hilarious. How did you woo her? With good looks?
the beginning of our dating, there was a song that came on. And she goes, "Gosh, I love this song," and it was they were singing it in church, and I said, "I wrote that song." She goes, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No, there would be all the time," and I was like, you might want to look like
Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's really easy. She would say, "God, I love this song." And I was like, I wrote that song.
Yeah.
And she's like,
In my PJs.
She goes, "You did?"
See, that is so savage that you wooed a beautiful woman and never dropped any of those hits.
Right. And she didn't know.
That's baller, right there.
That's how you know it was real, right?
Yeah, I think you guys are going to make it.
Oh, I give her a hard time all the time. I was like, you could look it up. I mean, it would be great if you knew some of them.
That's great. Growing up in a salt mining community, Grand Saline, Texas. Were you a PK?
No.
Okay. So I grew up the son of puppet ministers.
Oh, wow. This explains so much.
It's not a line of work I pursued after the line stopped there. The generations, my son will not be a puppet minister. There's not a lot of us out there. There are a lot of support groups out there, but puppet ministry died with YouTube. Like, there's just too much on YouTube to keep people's entertainment. So, but back in the day, if a Sunday school had a puppet, you were ahead of the trends. Like, you were captivating kids. Right. So my parents were puppet ministers, but my dad also worked at a grocery store, changing the price tags, 40 years up and down the aisles with a cart. Hated it, but did it because that was work. And so I got to run the aisles of a grocery store after the store was closed. And I was like, this is crazy. No other kid gets to do this. For you, growing up in Grand Saline, what was a perk of one of your parents' jobs that you can think of? Like something no other kids got to do because of...
My dad was a pharmacist. And so, so I was a drug dealer, and so I delivered drugs.
Oh, literally a drug dealer. Okay, hey, delivery. Hey, little Chris.
It was unbelievable. We had this little store, right? And so it was being my dad's pharmacy was like a real like a small town farm. It wasn't like Walgreens or something, CVS. You know, there was none of that. There was no Walmart thing. It was a real little pharmacy, and he had a baseball card shop in it.
I was about to say the pharmacy is where I got my baseball cards as a little 10-year-old boy.
My dad had a baseball card shop, so we would always do the baseball cards. And he had a music section over there with guitars, and that's where I learned to play. Yeah. And then we had a little Ford Pinto with it was a car, for those of you who don't know what that is, because it was this little really, really bad car. And we would have that's where we deliver the drugs, we deliver the medicine. And so every day, that was my job at 3:00, whatever little old lady had called Dad and said, hey, I need my drugs.
I'm picturing George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life when Mr. Gower said, deliver those.
Completely.
Yeah.
Deliver. And so I would take them, and that's why I would go all the houses delivering all the medicine.
Was there a sign? Did you have to put a sign on top?
No, we had it decaled down the side of the car. Professional pharmacy with our phone number, and that's what my dad would take me to school in. By the way, the Ford Pinto. Right. And it was so embarrassing, but he loved it, and it would. And so we would, that was, so the pharmacy was our life. It was our whole life. And so we had all the things, the baseball card shop and the music. And it was like a one-stop place.
Oh yeah. It's where the town got their socks as well.
And these like 5 guys every morning, you do the coffee and just over in the corner drinking the coffee. And
so if you didn't have it, tell me there was a catalog where they could find. Let me know. Search the catalog. We'll get it here.
Exactly. What do you need? Yeah. Well, let me go find. We got it. Yeah, exactly. And everything was. I don't know if you had experienced the world, but you charged everything. Yeah. And there was no credit cards. They would just say charge it, and so you would just write. I would write a tick. No one ever bought anything. Right. They would just come in and says, "Well, just charge it. Charge this. They charge this." So I'm just writing everything down what it costs, and then at the end of the month, you would send somebody a bill for everything they had charged up, and you hope that they paid it back.
It's still crazy. My children, they see your kids, my kids, they see Walgreens and CVS, but I would walk probably 2 miles to the Rexall's pharmacy, and with a quarter in my pocket, and I would buy a pack of cards, and on the walk home, I would read the front and the back of every single one of those cards. Like anything could have been going by me. Yeah. But I was finding out where Mark Langston was born. Yes. And devouring this information. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I was home. Yeah. And knew how many strikeouts he had.
Yeah.
But then I think the internet killed all of that.
It killed all that. My dad, it was one of those moments you hear about. My grandmother, she goes in the closet and finds all of these notebooks full of my dad's collection when he was a kid, and it's all the stuff that's worth.
Yeah,
it was Mickey Mantle and all the stuff, Skrimsky and all the things, but Dad had glued them all into like pages as a kid.
Oh no!
And so that ruins all the value, and so they're worth nothing. These things were worth like $5,000 a piece. Dad had hundreds and hundreds of them.
And he glued them.
And he glued them. They're worth zero. And so he realizes this whole thing. So we used to we would literally at night after the pharmacy closed, we would take out those notebooks, take the cards off of the notebooks, and like Dad he had gone and researched if you microwaved them, if you did all stuff, you could get the glue off. You gotta get them back to mint. I'm trying to get them in mint condition. All these kind of things, and then you go to all the baseball cards, things. It was such a crazy moment in time, and it's kind of just gone.
Yeah. To make you feel better, we would take cards and throw it against this sort of gambling as kids, but we'd take a card and throw it against a wall, and you have to say if it's going to land up or down, and whoever was right gets to keep it. But the problem is we were throwing it against the wall and bash
all the
pieces.
edges.
Yeah, that's great. All right, last year, every year YouVersion Bible app puts out there, here's the most searched for of our billions of downloads. Here's the most searched for scripture of the year. And they always put out their data of what was the most searched for. And I always find it interesting what the world is searching for in scripture. So last year was Matthew 6:33, God takes care of the lilies. Don't worry about it. Oh, wow. If you look at 2021 for you, and I'll show you a tattoo of my scripture of the year, because Louis Giglio did a talk when he was doing Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table. There was a bit of script. He talked about Habakkuk 3, and for some reason it wrecked me. Even if there's no grapes on the vines, even if there's no cattle in the field, I will still trust the name. And just as a reminder, I put a reminder on me to never forget that scripture.
Wow.
So for you, 2021, can you think of one bit of scripture that was your verse of the year kind of deal?
It was interesting. I don't know if it's my verse of the year, but it kept coming to me in so many different places. People I got it texted like 3 times. I remember getting a greeting card, and I turned on the back, and that verse was on the back. Cause I was like, and it's frightening. Yeah. And it's teach me to number my days, for it gives me it gives you a heart of wisdom. And I was like, what does this mean? I'm at the end. It's like, what is it? I kept looking at Lauren, my wife, and I was like, what? This is crazy.
You guys took out life insurance last year?
All the time, bro. It was just like, what is happening? I got it so many times. Everywhere I looked, it was teach me to number my days. But what an incredible passage, to like be aware that life is so short and it goes by so quick. You don't have much. You're just given this brief moment to live, and it says, for it gives you a heart of wisdom. And I think that is when you're in that, we just live so fast, right? And we just forget that we don't have long.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one for me. Is I think God's been trying to get that into me, because I haven't been looking for it, but it's been coming to me in all these different ways. And, so
that's a good one. Yeah. Let's end on this pre-show pump up routine for you. Is there any weird tradition? Because I know I found it very interesting. You told me this one day. I was like, you were like, some person came up to you and was like, I said hi to you and you didn't even notice me. And you're like, I'm not a mean guy. I'm just laser focused, which I appreciate as a fan of quality, that God gives us skills and talents, but we're passionate about quality. And I loved that when I heard that about you, that at a show you were, you're leading people in worship, but you also want it to be good.
I literally can't communicate like an hour before. Yeah. Like in my head, it's just like I'm envisioning everything.
Yeah. So
and like connecting with people and that kind of thing.
So do you have some weird tradition, or is it a vocal exercise? Is it something you do every show that I guess has become like the Need to Breathe guys? Mm-hmm. They have one of them, Bear, has coughing problems. So the only thing that would help is they found this wood in South Africa that would help Bear's breathing, so he wouldn't go into a coughing spasm. And so pre-show, the Need to Breathe guys, they order it for every show, this wood that's only found in South Africa.
Really?
And it helps him breathe.
Wow. No,
which is a weird one.
That's a weird one. Now, mine's pretty simple. I have all my vocal warm-ups on my phone. I have to do it, and I have to do that. That has to start. For me, it's always 45 to an hour before. I make sure I do that, and that takes me about 20 minutes, and that's a good time because it's just so a lot of it's breathing and like it's helping you get your mind right too, and then we usually have something going. I don't know in the I like to get like music going pretty loud in the dressing room, just kind of
like Tupac.
Yeah. How did you know? You must
California love. Chris is getting ready.
Yeah, it was for a while. It was the Jesus is King Kanye West.
Oh
record. We just like crank it all the time, and it was so fun. But
you're my Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's something just kind of fun and light and like gets you going and like it like gets the juices flowing. But yeah, it's not much more than that. But I have to but I do get like in that zone where I'm just like kind of oblivious to like everything else, and
it's go time.
It's go time, and yeah.
All right, looking forward to who opens, or do you guys how do you decide a coin flip to open Hillsong or Tomlin?
We just kind of like do it open and end together kind of thing. That's what we've talked about so far. Who knows?
Yeah.
But my buddy Pat Barrett's out with me as well. He's going to come on the nights and kind of get the whole thing kicked off.
Oh yeah, that's no
right
chump change opener. There's a lot of hits,
like 3 of the biggest songs in the church.
Oh, Good Father and
Build My Life and The Way and Canvas and Clay and whatever else he's going to come out with. But like, I was like, gosh, I was like, that'd be great just to have him walk out, get the place going with, and then
Let me remind everybody that I wrote Good Father.
Oh, no.
And so here comes
Hillsong. Hear it later tonight.
Yeah.
You remember that was me?
Yeah. That paid for my mortgage.
Oh, yeah. He's so funny about that. Every time we're around together, people are like, somebody's like, is it weird for you that Chris gets the credit for Good Father? He goes, oh, no. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's like, my kids are really grateful.
We think about it when we're in a cabin in Aspen, and we're like, "This is not."
His cabin's up there.
Yeah. It's just not fair that Chris gets the credit. Can you bring me some caviar? That was his kid saying that. Can you bring me some caviar?
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.